Okay,
I would,
if for example, if it was a 1-year lease and now you're past the 1 year, that automatically converts over to a periodic lease.
Right, usually for a month-to-month, and the old conditions would still apply for that month-to-month period.
Right. Was there any reference in the lease to pets at
no,
all?
no,
No.
no.
All right.
No, it really has nothing to do about the pet. Really, they don't want me to have one. Everybody else has one. So it can be, it can be like one. I've been here longer than they have. So how could they just instill it after, enforce it after I moved in? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no, I know exactly what you mean, and I think I agree with you. If there's nothing in the lease when you had a lease that says anything about pets, and there's no building-wide policy because other people have pets, I don't see why you could be discriminated against. But let me ask Ryan a question. Let me give you a hypothetical. I'm going to take your question and turn it into a hypothetical. Let's say that Mike brings a pet, like full-time, not just a nephew's dog, but brings a pet into the apartment full-time, and the landlord goes to evict him as a result of that and gives him, I don't know, a 30-day notice. Now what happens?
Once he gets a 30-day notice, then he would have an opportunity to correct it. Now, in this situation, it doesn't sound like there's anything to correct because there was no requirement not to have a dog.
Right.
The landlord, then, it depends on how they want to act. If they actually wrongly want to bring an action, then you would have to defend it in a court of law.
How would Mike do if I know that a landlord on a month-to-month tenancy does not have to have any reason to evict a tenant. I understand that. And they could give 30 days notice, and if the tenant does not vacate the premises, then they could bring an unlawful detainer action. I understand that. But under these circumstances, the landlord would be evicting Mike for violating a non-existing rule. Does Mike have a defense in an unlawful detainer action?
In such an action, I think you would. If the only reason he was doing it was because he was violating a rule that just doesn't exist in the lease, you would have a defense on that. But in the same sense, the landlord can just give 30 days notice.
Right. So, Mike, we've got two possibilities here. We've got a dumb landlord, and we've got a savvy landlord. The dumb landlord's going to say, I'm evicting you because you have a pet in violation of the rules. We know there aren't any such rules. And then you've got a defense in an unlawful detainer action. You may actually win. A smart landlord, on the other hand, is not going to give any reason at all. He's just going to say, I'm tired of having Mike living here now. It's been a month to month. There's no lease. And I'm going to terminate on 30 days' notice. There's one more possibility, too, and that is if the lease is still in effect, you actually have to do something in violation of that lease, or general legal principles, like commit a series of crimes or something.
Or if the dog started tearing up the apartment complex, things along those lines.
Yeah, I suppose so. Then that might be grounds for terminating the lease. But at this point, there's a lot up in the air. And Mike, if you want to have a pet, or you have a pet now, and the landlord goes to evict you for that reason, you may very well have a defense.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
All right, I hope that was helpful. And if your landlord does give you 30 days notice, call us back and we'll discuss it further, because at that point we'll have more details so we can discuss it in more detail.
Right,
right.
Okay.
Thanks
a lot. Have a nice evening.
All right. Thank you very
Mike.
much for calling Legal Help Live, Mike. Okay, we got some more people to talk to. Wolf, do we have Annie? Do we have Wolf? Okay, let's bring Annie into the studio. Annie?
Hello.
Annie? Good afternoon, Annie. How are you? We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
All right, good. How are you guys doing?
Doing very, very well. What can we do for you today?
Okay, well, I work for a small company, and I've heard rumors that the owner is thinking about selling it. And I was kind of concerned for my rights if the company is sold. Like, if I have any, will the new owner be able to fire me? And if so, can I get any, like, severance package or whatnot?
Okay. What kind of company is this?
It's a fashion company. about 8 people.
Did you say fashion?
Yes.
Okay, and there are 8 employees?
It's a junior company.
All right, and how is the company held now? Is it just a sole proprietor, or is it a corporation, or some other form of...
It's a sole proprietor.
Okay, and the sole proprietor is thinking about or is going to sell the business to some other person?
Yes, to like a bigger corporation.
Do you have any kind of employment contract there? Anything in writing establishing your...
I actually did not. I'm under it. I never signed anything when I started working there.
Okay, how long have you been there?
3 years.
3 years? Annie, you sound young, but how old are you?
I'm 26.
That is young. Even for Ryan, that's young.
Yeah, that is young for me.
And what do you do at this? What do you do at the company?
I do a bit of everything: a bit of sales, a bit of production, some shipping.
And as long as the present employer is there and owns the company, you feel comfortable and confident that you're going to continue your employment there. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, so your only concern is that when the present owner is gone and sells to somebody else, the new owner can come in and just fire you.
Correct. That's my concern.
Okay, Ryan, question for you. Can the present owner just fire Annie?
The present owner can just fire Andy for any reason as long as it's not an unlawful or illegal reason, which
Right.
usually comes down to race, gender, things along those lines.
Which you can't
Cannot
fire
do
for
for
that.
that,
But can the present owner just say, Annie, goodbye?
Certainly, the owner can do it right now for no reason, a bad reason, just not an illegal reason.
Especially if he gives no reason.
Yeah, that usually happens.
Yes.
So they can do it for no reason.
Right. The present owner can do that. So I guess by extension, then a new owner could do the same thing, as long as there's no unlawful basis for the termination.
Most likely. I mean, I have heard of companies when they go to sell to someone new that they do in the agreement require the new owner to keep on certain employees, and that's a possibility. But unless that's in there, then the future owner can terminate them for any reason they want, as long as it's not an illegal reason.
Okay, I think the first answer is either your present employer or a future employer, if the company is sold, can terminate you or your job. Actually, they can't harm you, but they can terminate your position. Do you have a good working relationship, a good relationship with the present owner?
Yes, I do.
Is it good enough for you, because I've got an idea, is it good enough for you to go to that person and say, I would like an employment contract? I would like to have something in writing employing me for the next 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years.
Yeah, I definitely have. Yeah, I could definitely.
If you're really concerned and you have a serious basis for believing that there might be a sale of that business, and you have the kind of relationship with the present owner that you could ask that and get it, then I believe that you would be protected even if the ownership changes. If she has an employment contract, doesn't that carry forward?
There should be a way of writing it that way. That's a very good idea.
Yeah, you might try to do that if you're really seriously concerned about the business being sold, and you can get that type of agreement with the present owner. You might maybe seek counsel for a little bit. You're in Marina del Rey. There's a bar association for Santa Monica and Venice. You might take a little bit of time, talk to a lawyer, draw up the type of employment contract that would bind a future employer if somebody else buys the company. It might be worth your time to do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Annie, good luck to you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Good
take
luck.
care. All right. Before we go back to the phones, I have filed this already, and I filed it under the following file cabinet heading. How can anybody be so stupid?
This is a Lindsay Lohan comment. Then.
No, it is not.
Oh.
No, we'll get to Lindsay later, I promise. But in Riverside County, a surveillance camera